We're sitting here and it's late night. It's about 5 minutes to 1, and we've been watching YouTube gospel music. And who was that on? The Cathedrals? Mm-hmm. George Johnson. The Cathedrals were on singing. And they sang an old song about God's children was laid in Egypt land, so God took Moses by the hand and said, Moses, go tell old Pharaoh to set them free. It was, George called it an early rap. And this was back in the 40s. 48, 49, 50. I can remember in 52, 53, Daddy had a vinyl record of that, a 78 RPM big old record. And he was a preacher. He was a preacher. And he had the itch so bad, he'd preach on the street corner. He'd preach from his car. He would ride around. He had two big old speakers he'd put up on the top of his car. And he had a turntable in there. He'd sit on the seat. And he'd run him two wires out there and hook up the battery. And it was a 12-volt system, that record player and that speakers was. And he would ride around and preach in the community. It'd probably put you in jail for doing that now. But he had the itch and he couldn't get enough scratching. So he preached everywhere he could preach. And he'd ride around and preach in the neighborhoods and play them records. And he would play that song. And I can remember as a kid. And he played so much that I still know the words to it. I could sing with him over there on the TV. But Baby Doll didn't know that Daddy was you knew he preached on the street corner, didn't you?
I didn't know he done none of that.
Hey, she didn't know he was a street corner preacher.
In the church.
And she didn't know he would ride around in his car and preach. I mean, people used to do it like that all the time. He's sort of like that guy that stands on the corner with a megaphone down there at Crestview.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Hey, Daddy had the itch and couldn't help himself. But God built a church in Natchez, Mississippi from his street corner preaching, and it was a miracle that it was built. He got to pray for a guy that owned the town, a little old town right outside of Natchez, owned the sawmill and everything, owned the land and everything, and he gave Daddy a piece of land, give him the material out of his sawmill, and give him the hardware and stuff out of his hardware store to build that church. I mean, just absolutely give it to him. And the last counts we heard, it had been changed hands several times through the Assembly of God, and it was the last count Daddy had of it, some black church. Somebody had bought it and turned it, one of the groups down there, organizations had bought it and turned it into an AME church or something. Hey, it was great to know that it was still being used for the good of the Lord.